Hey guys, it's summertime, and life is all about weekends, cookouts, and all things outdoors. And the JCPenney men's store is the place to go for some serious summer style, where shorts, tees, and swim trunks from brands like St. John's Bay, Dockers, and Izod go for a cool 40 to 50% off. And spend $25 or more with coupon on men's apparel, shoes, and accessories, and you get $10 off. We've got your look, your style, and a great price. The men's store at JCPenney. When it fits, you feel it. Coupon valid 5/28 to 5/31. Some exclusions apply. Check jcp.com now or your Thursday newspaper for coupon and details.
Giancarlo Stanton and the Miami Marlins travel to New York to face the Mets.
Rip right field towards the corner. Gone!
The pregame's at 3:30 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 4:30. Saturday on ESPN Radio. SVP and Russillo, the podcast.
Hey, it's SVP and Russillo. Appreciate you checking out the podcast. Reaction to the draft lottery. Ryan doesn't want to hear it's Phil Jackson's fault. This question, Steph Curry or LeBron James, more pressure this postseason. That elicited the I'm right Scott voice, something I didn't know I had. Or did I? My one big thing on David Letterman, Drew Brees stops by, and Ryan wants to go to prom with you. Just ask him on Twitter. Podcast starts now.
Now, SVP and Russillo on ESPN Radio.
And ESPNRadio.com.
Last night, the draft lottery. The big winner, the team that had the best chance to be the big winner because they were the biggest loser during the regular season, is Minnesota, and they get the pick. And the interesting thing about that, Ryan, is just how it relates to who they covet based on your intel last week in Chicago, who most people like, but you told us yesterday the Timberwolves like a different guy.
That was the rumor, at least last week. You know, you talk to guys, you'd be like, hey, it's Towns, huh? Every team's taking Towns. And then you hear a couple guys go, well, Minnesota actually apparently likes Okafor better. And then, of course, there's always T-Wolves jokes, like, oh, the T-Wolves, they're the team that would take Okafor. So I don't know if it was people making fun of the T-Wolves or if it was based on real hard intel. The hardest thing to do ever, though, is once the owner looks at mock drafts and looks at guys like Jay Billis and Chad Ford and talking up everybody, and everybody's saying Towns, it's hard to be the GM as much juice as Flip Saunders has with that organization, not necessarily based on success, but because of who he's been in that state. It's hard to tell your owner, well, no, I want to take the guy that everybody thinks is the second player. So we'll see. You know, like it's easy to say you like someone when you're not faced with the choice of passing on what is the consensus number one in Towns.
Right. The easiest thing to do is say what you do when you didn't have to do it.
Exactly.
And
you hear like all the rumors that you hear now that it's set are usually always different.
And speaking of Flip, they won. There was some video that made it out of a very happy group, which you'd understand because they now get to make the number one pick in the upcoming draft in June. Here's Flip from the Timberwolves.
We got lucky. You know, with 4 days left in the season, you know, we were a game behind New York, and we were probably set to be the second seed. And then what happened is New York went on the road and they went and beat Orlando and they beat Atlanta.
Yep.
We lost the last 3 games, and all of a sudden what happens is we go from 2-1, and they go from 1-2, and if they wouldn't have won those games, and they would have, you know, they could have been where we're at, and we'd be sitting thinking who we're going to take at number 4.
That's Flip from the Herd, and you know I'm anti what Philadelphia's done for a couple of years in a row, just because it's sustained years of not trying at all, and so to say that the Knicks screwed up by winning is in a sense saying both things here. I'm saying if you're committed to not being any good in this campaign, those wins hurt you because if the draft lottery goes according to form, which it did, and we're not saying that the Knicks would have gotten it if they had the most ping pong balls, but they'd be in the number 1 spot, and instead they find themselves number 4. The most interesting things, I suppose, from the biggest market deals was that the Lakers end up 2 and the Knicks end up 4, and there's Philly at 3, which was where they were, I guess, had the best chance to end up. What do you make of the Lakers and the Knicks where they finished up?
I try to help people as much as I can with this job sometimes, and we did it yesterday with quarterback contracts, just trying to help you. I want to make everybody smarter. And I know in a focus group I was called arrogant at one point, but I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to help you. So if you want to do the rant that the Knicks are stupid now and Phil Jackson's terrible because they fell 2 spots, which based on the emergence of a ping pong ball, then, like, I can't help you. Maybe Phil Jackson's terrible. Maybe it's going to be a disaster. So far, all it's really been is bad for 1 year and super expensive. But today, the Knicks become the punchline because they fell 2 spots. What happened last night with the T-Wolves, all of this is math, man. Like, Sam Hinkie gets it. It's not, oh, I failed because I didn't get the number 1 pick. It's, What gives me the best chance to land in the top 3? And that's what they've done. That's what the Knicks did. Once guys started getting hurt, they started trading pieces and playing guys you haven't heard of. They go, we have a chance. All you're doing is guaranteeing yourself a chance. It's like sitting down at the poker table going, I have more chips, but it doesn't guarantee me that I'm going to be the last man standing. Getting mad at Phil Jackson about them not getting the number 1 or number 2 pick is the most misguided anger. I'm telling you, like, maybe he will be horrible. So far, not great returns a year on, folks. I get it. But this is like getting mad at your financial advisor because he doesn't win the lottery. Like, is it his fault? Just because he works on your retirement fund, he's supposed to have better odds at winning $1 million at the food bag? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's great for radio, it's great for rants, it's great for columns and all this stuff, but it's basically all wrong. So be loud and wrong if you want. But the reaction I've seen from this stuff, I know the Knicks are a punching bag here, but all that happened to them was the ping pong balls came up wrong in that one instance, and it could have come up completely different some other day, and it would have had nothing to do with Phil Jackson.
Had they lost those games in the spring that they won, it doesn't guarantee that the ping pong balls, which they'd have had more of, would have come up their way.
Right, and that's what people are doing today.
It doesn't guarantee that. It just caught it. We are doing math, and it made the math less in their favor as a result. The Lakers didn't. And that's another thing. People had the Lakers, wow, it's fixed, this and that. They only moved up 2 spots.
Byron Scott goes, I was glad I was able to come here and make something happen. You sat in a chair. You sat in a chair.
Yeah, dude, but they got the second one, man.
The Lakers, man. But look, they got lucky. They got lucky. Philadelphia got luck. You know, they were neutral luck. They weren't lucky. They weren't unlucky. The Knicks were 2 picks unlucky. Minnesota worked out for it. Look, the Spurs tanked. Okay, folks. Like, I know everybody wants to talk Spurs. The Spurs. This whole Spurs thing is tanking and sitting 2 guys down that were ready to come back, and they're like, you know what we can do? Get a shot at Duncan. So no one's above this. The Celtics tanked before the 2008 season, and it didn't work. They ended up with the 5th pick that they traded for Ray Allen. Then Kevin Garnett decided to come by, and they won a championship with a completely different roster than they expected because they thought they were going to be deciding between Oden and Kevin Durant. The Heat tanked, and they got Michael Beasley, and it didn't work. So, you know, everybody wants to make fun of the teams tanking, but they all conveniently forget that almost every one of these teams have been built in some way of being really bad at some point. And luckily for the Spurs, they were really bad at the perfect time.
Right, and then they got who they got. He's still playing at 39, and they've won 50 games a year since. So, I mean, everyone's trying to get to the same place. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I don't think Philadelphia aspires to be bad. They want to be good, and they think the best way to be good eventually is to be bad, to be really good at being bad now. And so, understood. And they're not alone with that. Minnesota, New York, they all did the same thing. You take a chance, and you either get lucky or you don't. That's all that happens. But it's the back pages and all, it's cool.
I get that that's a job, right?
It's cool to do cartoons
fine.
And to say this and that. And it has been expensive in New York. And now the question is, who do you get it for, and does it change, and does it make it any better? My argument would simply be that the Knicks haven't been significantly relevant in a long, long time. So it doesn't trouble me. What troubles me is pretending like there's something different than they've been. Because, you know, they've got a guy in Carmelo Anthony who's a star player. But beyond that, I don't know. What do you expect? They missed out in the playoffs 2 years ago. And this year they didn't try. And so now they get the 4 pick. And so we'll see what kind of wizard that Phil Jackson is.
I mean, the league is luck. I'm sorry. Like, you can sit there and think you have the formulas and that you're going to map it out better than everybody else. But like last night's just all luck. You can hate Phil Jackson, but last night's not Phil Jackson's fault.
No, I don't know.
I don't think you're saying it.
No, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's blaming them. I mean, blaming Phil. You can blame. You can say.
Really?
Well, yeah. for last night for ping pong balls.
Steve, you drive up in the New York area. How are Knicks fans feeling about Phil?
Not the best.
Right, they're killing him.
Yep.
I've heard it. I've heard some of our guys doing it.
Yep.
And they're crushing Phil Jackson, and you just go, hey, you can get mad at him for giving Derek Fisher $5 million to do a job he's never done before, and you'd be right. But the piling on in this business gets so out of control that you just start piling things on to your take that don't even make any sense, but everybody's lost track. Like the beginning, okay, this guy's going to rip Phil Jackson. That's right, Phil Jackson's terrible. And you're like, that analogy doesn't really make any sense. But I'm going with it because it's anti-Phil.
And Tanaka and the Jets. Like that?
Exactly. Nailed it.
SVP and Russillo.
Last night, the Western Conference Finals in a very entertaining game that went back and forth between 1-2 in the MVP voting. Steph Curry goes for 34. That outdueled James Harden's 28. And a big Houston lead evaporated in the midst of a giant second-quarter run for Golden State, who tried to pull away late but could not. Warriors win by 4, 110-106, which, with Steph Curry one game closer to his first-ever title, is the jumping off or jumping in, however you want to look at it, point, to a question that you, Stanford Steve, and I have been batting around as a topic idea for a couple of days here.
Who has more pressure this year to win a title, Steph or LeBron?
I think it's an easy answer.
Okay.
It's LeBron James. He exists in his own world of expectation, some of which is he created with things he said in the past, other things he's created based on the level of play that he's able to reach that no one else on the planet can seem to get to. And Steph Curry, I don't think he has pressure at all. I think Steph Curry is a guy who people are entertained by. He's liked. Pressure tends to come with expectation. I don't think that there's expectation with them that if it's not met, will be greeted with some sort of they're not good enough or he's not good enough. I think people just like to watch the guy play the game. And because he was not anointed as some king, because he was doubted across the board from his days when he couldn't get a scholarship till now as an MVP, the trajectory is still that he's some kind of an underdog story, even though he's acknowledged as the best player in the game. I don't believe Steph Curry has pressure. I believe LeBron James, even though he has won, and even though this would be 5 straight finals in a row, I think he only can fail if he doesn't win.
You're absolutely right about LeBron and who he's been at the start of his career to who Steph has been. Because every year with Steph, it's another surprise, right? Every level that he has taken his game up to, it goes, whoa, wait a minute, he's going to be pretty good. And, wow, he's a great shooter. Wow, he's now playing point. Oh, okay, he won MVP. And that's really been a surprise. His career, he said it's a surprise.
I was going to say, to him, too, when he was on with I think he was on once with me when you weren't here, and he was on once with you when I wasn't here. And I believe in both instances, paraphrasing here, his mind is blown that he's in these conversations where he's one of the best in the league, and he's now got the hardware that says you are the best in the game.
So you didn't look at the start of Steph's career going, like nobody was going after a couple years going, is this guy ever going to win one? And that's what happened with LeBron, and it takes 7-8 years, and you get to that spot. But the thing with LeBron, though, is really the only people that are, like if he gets bounced by Atlanta and you want to start doing this guy's not all that, then you're a Heat fan or, you're just the guy in the media that's invested so much in hating LeBron.
Yeah, Levitard.
You're never going to – no, see, Levitard gets it bad because you hear him nationally and you're like Heat fan, and then I'm sure he's the guy in Miami where everybody's like, why do you hate the Heat so much?
I'm just saying it just because you've said it, and it's just fun.
Okay. Well, but here's the thing.
You got a counterpoint here?
Yes, is that when you don't win and now everybody's paying attention to you, then you start heading into that Chris Paul territory where it's until you win one, it's, let me know. Where his entire, I thought if they lost to Memphis, Golden State's entire regular season next year, which is probably a 60-plus win regular season, would be completely dismissed. And if Steph was in the MVP running, he might not even win it because they're like, well, they didn't win it last year. So
we did an entire segment.
You can't have the same pressure on you when you've never won it before, even though it feels ahead of schedule with Steph.
We did the entire segment based on that if they don't win, and it was your thought, and I agreed with it, that if they didn't win, that this 67-win regular season campaign, there's nothing they could do in a regular season to make you view them differently next year. I agreed with that. But what they did after they lost a couple of games where the Grizzlies had it their way and they were held to 90 and 89 points respectively is they bounced back with 3 straight wins, and they close them out, and they close them out with 2 of those wins in Memphis, a place that's not easy to win. So he's already made a conference finals. I think pressure is born out of expectation, and I don't think that Curry we all know that the career didn't begin with huge expectation, but I feel that he and they have already arrived at a place where, and because it's Houston, the team they dominated the regular season, if they lost, I'm not saying people would go, oh, that's cool. I just don't think that there's a pressure on him that's even close to the critiques that LeBron faces.
No, the critiques are different. The way they're talked about mainstream is different, but this is 6 seasons in for Steph. And I'm just saying, if they were to lose to Houston, and he's going to tear it up next year because Steph is a top 5 player in this league. He's not going anywhere, and he's 27 years old. I know it sounds crazy, but then it becomes in his 7th year, can he do this? And you can't, despite the magnitude of the LeBron discussion, you can't ever do that with LeBron anymore.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with Ryan here. I think it's on Steph. The 67, you're the best team in the NBA. You're supposed to win. I know LeBron's his own animal, but I don't know. Like you mentioned,
how much pressure is on the 60-win number 1 seeded Atlanta Hawks? None,
because they're not the best team in the NBA.
No, because who are they playing? No, because who are they playing? They're playing the guy that has the most pressure.
Yeah, that's one way.
Yeah, but LeBron doesn't have the best team.
You're going to turn it into they're the 67-win team. You're the best. They're the
best team in the NBA. They should win the title. They have the MVP.
Atlanta's the second best.
Title.
Atlanta's the second best team in the NBA. They're the 1 seed. They have the home court advantage. There's no pressure
Nobody
on them.
talks about them like that.
We're talking about one player.
And no one talks about Steph like this. No one talks about Steph like he's got to win or else. No one.
No one talks about the Atlanta Hawks like, okay, this team, but all they've done is being doubted every single week.
I understand that. I'm just pointing out that you can be the 1 seed in your league. That point, the fact that they won the most games doesn't inherently bring with it pressure.
No, we're talking about one player in the MVP.
Say again?
We're talking about one player in the MVP.
I understand that. I haven't heard.
I think back to Derrick Rose too. That year he was the MVP. Got beat by the Heat, who eventually lost to the Mavs. He got a lot of stuff thrown at him because he was the MVP that year, and they were supposedly he was going to lead them to a title. They didn't even make the finals, and that's a thing that hangs around with him. And I just think it's Steph because LeBron, I think he's done enough already this year. I know
who LeBron has?
Yeah. He doesn't have half the team. They're in the conference finals. What's wrong with that?
Not one thing. But you become a prisoner of the expectations you create, and the people that were foolish enough to say he wouldn't ever are now they've had to change course, right? Because now it's if he doesn't again, I've never heard a person that's pointed out with Steph Curry anything other than, hey man, this is a fun story of a guy we like. It's because everyone loves him. Because it still feels like an underdog story. Greenberg still got to answer for a Virginia Tech scholarship because it's like, how did you not offer this? It's still this underdog story. He wasn't the chosen one. He wasn't the king. This, that, and the other thing. It's still new. Does Durant have pressure? Does Kevin Durant have pressure right now?
Durant does, but when you're not part of the conversation because you're hurt, then it's hard to be like, oh, and by the way, I'm also mad at Durant still, too. The guy's not playing.
Without question, he doesn't. This year's different, and it's not a matter of getting a pass. It's just a matter of injury takes you out of the discussion by definition.
If Durant had a good team this year and was healthy all year and they got bounced as a top 4 seed early, you're going to start to hear wait a minute, who is this guy?
I agree.
Is this guy just a scorer? So
and because they got to the finals at 23 and they'd be backing up.
We agree here more than it probably sounds like with the tone because you're right. LeBron's just discussed in a different way. And maybe it's way too early to ask this question about Steph. But I do know that, as much as we build guys up, we start tearing them down quick when they come up short. And when you're going to be the guy that just dismisses, not you specifically, but the guy that looks at his more basketball players and quarterbacks than anything else, where when they don't have that ring, you don't want to hear about how good they are. Like that happens with a lot of people.
No doubt.
And maybe this question's being asked too soon for you, meaning that Steph's still too likable for any of this stuff to get nasty.
No, I love this conversation. I think it's fun. I look at it like when we do the things we're sick of, who do people not like? We do a lot of that. When we do the who does everyone love, well, Durant's on that list and Steph Curry's on that list.
I think Steph's higher on the list.
So do I. And that's why I don't think there's pressure. When everyone thinks,
but can you still be liked and have pressure on you, though? Or
I'm not saying that, look, if he plays like garbage and they lose to Houston, then it'll be met, I suppose, with jump shooting teams, whatever you want your narrative to be. Well, it'll be that. But he just had 34 last night. Watching him play basketball is as much fun as you can have watching basketball. And to date, he hasn't let anyone down. And name a circumstance where he's come up small. He hasn't been on many big stages.
Post game last night with his kid.
With that in mind.
Tough to hear.
With that in mind. Which one of us do you think is going to be the crotchety old guy going, get that kid out of here? Next, ESPN Radio.
SVP and Russillo.
Steve and I both have little girls. If we had podium games, I would know better than to bring my daughter, because my daughter would be asking for Play-Doh, bubbles, or just she would get down and run around because she's going to do what she would like to do. Last night, Riley Curry, Steph's adorable daughter, became the star of the podium.
It's entertaining basketball, but it's we're both supposed to
That's too loud, Daddy.
I know. Hold on one second, okay?
Be quiet.
Be quiet, she hit him with. And everyone loved it.
Do they have the audio of her asking why McHale called timeout?
She did not have that.
Oh.
She did not question the strategy. Everyone loved it except Brian Windhorst, who was the voice of the angry media member, who said this.
I was at a playoff game this season where it was the first game of round one, and the losing team, the player brought up his daughter to sit on his lap, and the daughter, is a toddler. She doesn't want to sit there. She's interrupting the question. She's roaming around, and this player just had a losing performance, and we want to ask questions. We want to ask questions of the millionaire who part of his job is to come and answer for his performance, and, he has his kid up there, and I don't want to be callous. I'm speaking as a member of the media who wants to be able to get access to the players in this situation after the game.
Is that Windhorst or Russillo?
Well, that's Windhorst.
He threw millionaire in there, too, which always is like a little, come on, guy. Your life isn't that bad. So I watched it all last night.
I think she's cute. Let me say this.
Uh-oh, no way.
I understand Wendy's point, because it turns into a circus. And you can appreciate that this is an adorable child, which she is. And also, I suppose if you have a question you want to get to and it's turning into the fun house, that could be annoying to you. And this is where everybody, the mob, will go, okay, media guy. But he's got a point.
Look, he's got a point. And you're right. I mean, but I can't lie about it. I'm not going to sit here because I don't want people to get mad at me to go, it's so adorable though, Scott. As a non-parent, I guess I don't understand the magic. I don't understand the magic of it. And everybody's tweeting it. It's funny, and it becomes that SportsCenter thing. I mean, look at the way we do SportsCenter now, especially that 9 a.m. And I'm sure the research tells you that people respond to this stuff. Like, hey, see the moment from last night. And that's what people are driving more and more. Look, it was cute. It's funny. And I think as a dad, maybe it'd be fun to bring a kid out there.
No.
But I can
I wouldn't.
I'm also watching it at home going, I wonder if there's anything we want to use on the show tomorrow. And then you're kind of like, all right, man, like I can't hear anything. So
she told him to be quiet.
Can it be both? I mean,
yes.
Can it be adorable, but then you also get the part of it where it's like it's a bit annoying too?
Yes.
Is that okay?
It can be. It can't. Is this right, Scott, talking, or is this just me agreeing?
Hanging on to it a little bit.
Which one is this? Oh, yeah. Because you.
All right, no, come back at me now.
No.
Come over here.
No, what is this? What is this? A cage match? Like I'm the bad guy that hangs on to stuff? I mean, come on. I just want to know what.
I heard your rant. with Adnan.
That's
in the
right.
Hotel on Thursday.
We hold on to some stuff. You and I didn't blame you. I said we're both grudge holders. Right?
Adnan, I don't know what Adnan's role is. Like who is he now?
I know what he wants it to be.
Yeah, what is that?
Amazing.
Adnan
just hijacked the whole show that day.
He just comes in, and when I wrote that text back to him where he goes, "What were the two fights?" Of course, because he wanted to know who the two fights were, so he could tell everybody in the media.
Because he's very chatty.
And I was like, "Oh, they were both his fault." A complete throwaway text as a joke. And then he reports it as fact, and then you took it as fact and got really mad. I'm in a hotel room in Chicago.
It's not your fault.
No, it's Adnan's fault.
We're going to get you, Adnan.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
SVP and Russillo.
Drew Brees, quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. Drew, appreciate the time today. I'm curious, as a guy that lived through a very public situation with the NFL and the whole bounty situation with New Orleans and what happened with you. How do you react to what's happened in New England and whether it's just or not?
Well, honestly, I'm just worried about my team.
I understand.
And doing what we need to do to win a championship. And I mean, to your point, being on that side of it at one time, it's a difficult situation. It's not, it's not favorable for either side to have to go through something like that. So, you hope for the best resolution, and then we'll be back to playing football.
I've talked to a number of guys that do what you do, not as well, but in the NFL, who told me that it's not unusual for some to like the pressure of a football a little softer. I can't believe 4 months later I'm still talking about and asking, but I'm just curious. Is this anything that you've heard of in your profession?
I mean, honestly, I've never given it that much thought. I mean, I really haven't. There is a process by which we pick footballs, before a game. You kind of break them in practice, kind of rub them down, whatever. And then, but once they're out on game day, I mean, you're just, you got enough other things to worry about than what the balls are like. You're focused on throwing it to the right guy, being on time, where are the defenders, who's coming to hit you. I mean, you got enough things going on that, I mean, honestly, I really have never given it that much thought other than, hey, I like the balls broken in a certain way, but then after that, it's, you just play ball with whatever ball comes up.
Drew, looking at your offseason, there's clearly a direction to overhaul this defense that was disappointing last year. But then there's also somebody like you where you're going, all right, what do I have to work with here? And you've been so good. You can understand wanting stability and investing in the D, but how does it feel when you lose a target like Graham and you're going into next year without one of the most dangerous guys in the league?
You know what? I'm excited for the opportunity to give some of our young guys, especially the young receivers. To lose a guy like Jimmy is heartbreaking. I mean, I love Jimmy Graham. I'm like a brother. Feel like he was such a big part of our offense for such a long time. And, unfortunately things like this happen sometimes. And, you worry about the guys that you do have and not the ones that you don't have. And I feel like we've got a lot of young talent at the tight end position, at the receiver position, just at all the skill positions. And so what it does for them is, hey, somebody's got to get those touches. So where's it going to go? And this is an exciting time for those guys this offseason with OTAs, minicamp, and training camp. Let's see how they develop and see how our offense kind of defines itself.
Well, Drew, a big reason we want to have you on, Van Pelt and I have known Brandon Landry now for a bunch of years. I'll never forget my first visit to LSU in 2008, and the guy took care of me. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is he so nice? Well, he owns walk-ons. He's put this empire together, and you, along with your wife, Brittany, have joined in this ownership. So I'm wondering, as a quarterback, are you going to be a little more hands-on with the menu, or are you going to kind of sit back as an investor and look at what Brandon has helped put together?
Well, no, Brandon Landry is a great guy and has built really a great brand and a great company in walk-ons. And I know Brandon now for about a year, and just being around him and how much passion he has for that business and really what he's been able to build. And I think what's impressed me from the very beginning with walk-ons is just the staff and the atmosphere and the culture that he's created there. Not to mention, obviously, it's phenomenal food. It's really restaurant quality. Louisiana cooking, in a sports bar concept. But I know you guys have had a lot of fun there when you come to town, and I know he's taking great care of you. It's great to be part of the walk-ons team and build now what is going to be a franchise model, for walk-ons, not only regionally but hopefully nationally.
And there's not just the one in Baton Rouge. There's one there close to the Dome in New Orleans, and you guys are going to get bigger. I'm just curious, as you get to 36, and Ryan and I were talking earlier, I know, Drew, you want to keep playing into your 40s, which maybe it's plausible, but who knows? How much of these types of ventures are with an eye on a future that doesn't include football?
No, it absolutely does. I mean, listen, I'm blessed to play this game, and I'm going to try to play it for as long as I can. But certainly I have other interests, and this has been one of them. And I know that I can only play football for so long, and then it's going to be, on to the things like this that I'm trying to kind of build and cultivate, right now while I'm still playing. Obviously, my focus is still very much on football and helping this team win a championship. But, in the free time I do have, it's family, it's foundation, and it's, opportunities like this with walk-ons.
Well, yeah, you said that you want to play until you're 45. Does Brandon know this? Because that's a long time.
No, hey, listen, 45 is a long way away. I'm 36 right now, and I know I got, maybe a little overzealous last year when I threw out the number 45.
I love it.
I can give you guys something to talk about. No, I mean, listen, I think you just said at different stages in your career, I think you just kind of reassess and reevaluate and kind of set goals moving forward. And it was just kind of one of those moments last year, my body felt great, felt like I got a great system in place with my training and my recovery and my, just diet and everything that, gosh, why not? Why not play till I'm 45? And listen, a lot of things have to fall into place favorably in order for that to happen. I mean, from a health situation, it's kind of luck of the draw sometimes, sitting back in the pocket there. But, I feel like certainly anything's possible. Nobody's really done it, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done.
I want to just close with this, Drew. Ryan and I were just talking about post games and having kids be part of the process. And we were talking about Steph last night. He had his daughter up there. It's adorable. And then there's those in the media that say, why would that happen? Your kids have been part of these iconic images, in post game moments. How do you weigh the line there of wanting a child to be part of that moment and share it with you, and at the same time, like, I have a 2-year-old daughter. If I brought her to a press conference, it'd be chaos. How do you kind of weigh the balance of is this going to work or not?
Yeah. First of all, I'll say this. I want so much for my kids to be a part of, my football life. And that's another reason why I want to play as long as I can, because, my boys now are 6'4" and 2, and they're just starting to kind of get what Daddy does. And when I bring them to the facility, just to see the look on their face and the questions I get asked and just how excited they are, I mean, I want to play this game as long as I can so that we can have these moments together and share these, because it's so unique, it's so special. I think people sometimes forget that we are pretty normal people. Put the game-winning three-pointers for Steph Curry to the side, and he's a normal guy. He goes home, he's dad. He's changing diapers. He's,
right,
going to the grocery store, probably doing other stuff that normal dads do. I mean, that's what a lot of us do, and it's so we want our kids to be a part of our lives and include them in as many of those things as we can. And listen, I think it gives some levity to it at times when people want to just take things way too serious. You know what? The family's going to be included, and you know what? It should be. That's the way it should be.
Drew, appreciate the time. Good luck with this new venture. Tell Brandon and everybody down there that we said hey and good luck. We appreciate a little bit of time today, all right?
All right, guys. Thank you.
SVP and Russillo.
Is it prom season?
It has been, right, for a little while. Mikey C., can you help us out with this? Do you know? Is it?
You spinning anywhere?
No, I haven't been asked this year. But it's like May. Yeah, May's prom season.
Have you not been asked on Twitter at Outsider Mike to go to maybe a local prom here as a local celebrity?
No, I'm not a prom person. I remember I was dating a girl after I graduated who was like a year younger than me.
Oh, so you were the older guy back at the prom?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I told her, don't even ask. She broke up with me.
She broke up with you, huh?
Yeah. Maybe had you gone, it'd be a whole different life path for you right now.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a gray tux with a lavender cummerbund and bow tie like your boy.
I went to my prom, though. I killed it at my prom.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
What was the tux color?
It was just a regular black one, but I had a nice, cool green vest. I went with the vest instead of the cummerbund.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. You put a lot of pressure on yourself at weird ages, where if you're the year after high school, you go, I can't go and do that. And then when you graduate college, but you still live in the town, like I did, you just go, well, I can't be going to that late night. And you go, you know what? You're 22, and everybody else there is like 20 and 21. I bet Stanford Steve, you go to all 4 proms. You get asked as a freshman by like some older women.
I did, but
yeah.
I didn't go.
You didn't go? Were
No.
you not allowed, or were they just?
Nah, it wouldn't have been good.
Oh, come on. You can't expand a little bit?
Well,
you were involved with one person and maybe someone else wanted to go?
No. I was kind of the outsider that no one knew about.
Oh, so we're talking like urban sitcom enthusiast?
Yes.
So you were invited to an all-black prom?
No. A girl that was dating a guy might have asked me to go to the prom.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Well, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
And then that happened at another school, and then
you were getting asked by other high schools to go to their prom.
oh yeah,
This kid is just a playmaker from day one.
I know that's right.
didn't go to one.
And see, the thing about back in the day prom, though, was it wasn't complicated. It's just, hey, maybe you want to go to the prom with that gal over there, and so you say, you want to go to prom? And then they say, yeah. And then you go get yourself a bad gray tux and a purple cummerbund, lavender combo, as I did, and you go.
And you stop, you take all the pictures, and maybe some parents are cool with some champagne, some parents aren't, but it all works out.
Right, maybe they have it after hours in the cop shop, whatever the case may be. It used to be simple. Now there's this, it's very elaborate.
Right, this celebrity thing where everybody's going to the prom, you know, and some of these guys have been doing it, whether it's football players, maybe they're just bored because it's the off season, but I don't know, man. Like if Logan Menken showed up to pick up my daughter, go to the prom, nah, we're good. Like, I don't care that my daughter reached out to you on Twitter and it got 1,000 retweets and you're bored and you like want to look good in the public eye. So maybe I'm the bad guy.
Imagine that.
But I mean, okay, would you go to the prom if some girl was like, if I get 10,000 retweets, I can take you to the prom, or there was just some way that it was you were doing some girls. I don't know if you call it I don't even know what you would call it. Would you go to the prom with a high school senior?
No.
What if she was the biggest? She's going to Maryland next year, and there was a connection to the family, and people here were like, "No, it's this great thing, and we'll do a little Sports Center special on it." Van Pelt at the prom, go.
Man, I'm not doing this based on some retweet threshold. That's ridiculous.
But you could do it. I think you could pull it off.
No, I think, I got a kid I got to give a bath to. I got a wife at home.
But see, I think that's why you could do it.
Right, because I'm obviously not a threat.
Right, and, you know, this is even weird even talking about, but, like, I could see people looking at it with you and going, that's cool. I can't ever see you pursue it. But I think some of these football players, like, think it's cool. They're like, oh, yeah, this is cool. We're going to tweet out all these pictures.
Let's make a distinction here. There have been a couple where you're talking about I read a couple of stories where there was a young girl that was ill, and I mean,
of course,
obviously, listen, I'm making this clear for the idiots that don't get that we don't understand, and we do. I'm pretty sure. I think Derek Marks in Jacksonville was one that I saw that was just a great story, and there are great stories. But we're talking about just the one where it's like, hey, you want to go to prom, and then it becomes like if you don't do it, then you're a bad guy. Which is like if you're a guy right now, if you're like 17 and you got no shot, fire on every attractive woman in the media because one of them is going to accept just because you're going to get them some buzz.
Exactly. Like there was a stretch there for a year where I'm going, is every baseball sideline reporter going to the prom with somebody? Like what's going on right now? And you're right. What great advice. Just start following them all, going DM me if you want to go.
Who's trying to get, yeah, the theme is Stairway to Heaven. It's going to be in the cafeteria. I'll take you to the Rusty Scupper. It's going to be like 18 of us. By the way, can you buy us some suds?
Yeah, wasn't the ultimate goal of the prom was you were going to try and score, right?
Score what? What are you talking about?
Score what?
Come on,
enough. Smack? I never know with you, man.
Yeah.
It's like Jesse from Breaking Bad on the show sometimes.
But if you bring a celebrity, the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Oh, you're talking that. Yeah, I'm guessing that there's almost a 0% return.
No, there's what's less than zero is that. I wish everyone knew what a great reference the Rusty Scupper was, by the way, because that was the spot. If you went there, you were going to get some scallops, and your dinner was going to be delicious.
You know, I lived above the Rusty Scupper. It was basically the same thing.
But Ryan, what would it take for you to go?
Nobody. I'm not even doing that because everybody's going to assume that I'm the creepy guy hitting on the chaperone or something. Or
why? Because you shaved your head?
No, because I know how I'm perceived. I was actually asked to a college formal when I was 29 or 30, and my buddies wanted me to go so bad. It was insane. I brought it up in an email thing. I'm like, hey, a few weeks out, I just actually was invited to a sorority formal.
How'd that email chain go?
Like, you have to do it. Think about us. Think about us. And then the thing that I knew, and I wasn't going to – I thought about it for a second. I'm like, would this be epic? Would it be really funny? And be like, no, it wouldn't. Because I remember when I was in college and some girl that was kind of on the outskirts of things took some dude who was like 25 to a sorority formal, and nobody is really over 22. He might as well have been 100 with a cane. And every one of us made fun of him. You know, this is before anybody was taking pictures of every single thing that was happening.
Yeah, they were going to hate you.
Right, so they're all going to hate me. It wasn't going to be funny. Then the girl would have been freaked out, and she probably would have gotten too drunk. Then I would have had to deal with it. So,
every single thing you just said is all entirely accurate.
Right. So the funny thing is my friends, once I declined, I said, look, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it for you guys. One of the guys side emailed me and hit me up. He goes, none of us thought it was a good idea. We just all really wanted you to go and have it be terrible. And everybody that said, no, you'll do it, you'll be the man if you do this, no one believed that. We thought you were a total loser, but we just wanted you to be a loser.
Of course, they had a separate email chain that excluded you.
That was more active than the one I was on.
Without question, saying, you don't really think he's going to do this. No, he might. He might,
yeah. Keep telling him how cool it would be.
So the net of this is, if you're a young guy, if you're, say, a senior, junior in high school, whatever, fire on every attractive sideline reporter and starlet. Someone will say yes.
Pretty much.
And
what a terrible time. Like, if we're really breaking it down, imagine being 30 or older, like us, and going to a high school prom for the night just to say you did it and to tweet out some pictures. That's a bad time.
Because high school boys are the worst people in the whole world. The worst.
Because you know what he's saying to his buddies. He's like, well, maybe, if it goes just right.
And you're there, and everyone's clowning you. We're all set. So this is a blanket pass from SVP and Russillo.
My buddy snuck in some Old Crow.
Get at outsider Mike. You never know. 50-50 there.
No, not doing it.
I can't understand you sometimes. I'm sorry for assuming something else.
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, will hit, Hunter back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
throw to the plate, safe at the plate,
right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio. It's time for Scott Van Pelt's One Big Thing. One Big Thing. On ESPN Radio and ESPNRadio.com.
I watched a beautiful, heartfelt tribute this morning from Jimmy Kimmel last night in his monologue from his show for his idol, David Letterman, a man he has been competing with for eyeballs in the late-night space. It was so touching. It was so genuine. And Kimmel is running a rerun tonight and instructed his audience and those watching on TV to watch Dave tonight as he hosts The Late Show for the last time. It's the reverence that Kimmel holds for the man that he hoped his whole life to become and has in a way. It strikes me for the younger listeners of our radio show and viewers on television that you might not get what all the fuss is about. Maybe for you, Letterman's this crotchety old guy that the critics and the smart people loved, but that audiences in an age where being viral in the late-night space is more important than anything, Letterman became sort of a second to those. But it's been an unprecedented 33-year run. And it's too bad if you didn't get him or you didn't see him when he was really cutting edge. The people that found him back in the day, it's hard to describe what he meant, but it was powerful enough that it had his competitor Kimmel in tears trying to explain it as he told you to watch another guy's show tonight. The impossible thing for me to fathom about Letterman as he signs off tonight, he's older than Carson was when Carson retired from The Tonight Show. That's impossible. As a little kid, Johnny was this elegant old guy that came out from behind a curtain, told jokes, and then sat behind a desk that looked like it was in an insurance office. And it seemed like Carson flirted with every movie starlet and probably could have had him too. Yet he was safe and familiar, and America loved and trusted him. Here came Dave. I'm a teenager, and he's throwing fruit off buildings, mocking everybody and everything, jumping into a tank of water in an Alka-Seltzer suit. He seemed painfully uncomfortable talking to the movie starlets, but it seemed like he could have them too because of charm and wit that was made people want to hug a guy that apparently wanted no part of being hugged, metaphorically speaking. God, he was a brilliant television host. Authoritative, vulnerable at the same time, in total command of the craft of being on television, all of which he would famously poo-poo as he made yet another self-deprecating remark. And for all the jokes over all the years, one of the most memorable things I ever saw on television, and you should Google it if you didn't see it, was Dave's first show post 9/11. Somehow this fool that chucked fruit off of buildings found this raw, angry, but hopeful words that hit a perfect tone at a time when they were absolutely necessary. I have very few mementos of the time that I have spent in this business, but my eyes were drawn this morning to a picture in my office. It's me shaking David Letterman's hand when I sat down in the chair to his right. And I read that Tony Randall was a guest 70 times. I made it once, which is more than I ever would have dreamed of watching him in a dorm at Maryland. And after I was on, I sent a note down to him, and I have no idea if he got it or if he read it. But the essence of the note was that I hope that for all the thousands of the shows that he's done, which have to just blur one into the other, I hope that he never forgot or took lightly what it meant to the person who got to walk out and shake his hand and sit down on that set just that one time. I got a couple of laughs. Hell, he might even have meant it. I don't even know. But I'll remember that night. But much more specifically, I'll remember the brilliance of David Letterman forever, who does his last show tonight.
I read an article, you can read it right now in Rolling Stone. It's a 2011 article about the start of the show. Because you remember he was doing this morning thing, it got canceled, and he was filling in for Carson, and they were like, we're going to move you to nights after you're done filling in here. And he got really excited because he realized that the audience that he had was younger and people just up late. Like the stuff that he wanted to do would work. But you still were dealing with television executives that, and I can understand this, a lot of times the easy decision is the safe decision. It's, we already know what we're getting from this guy. We've already seen what he's done in the past. Let's go with that guy instead of somebody like Letterman who had all these new ideas that clearly influenced people for decades. So when you read this article, one of the writers said, quote, we were very intentionally trying to do different things. The mainstream stuff on TV at that time seemed very used up to us, on and on and on. She goes, the network executives had no clue what they were in for, especially given the graveyard ship Letterman inherited. He goes, a lot of the research suggested that, quote, stupid pet tricks would be better if the tricks weren't so stupid, meaning having a pig wear a Miss Piggy wig, or stuff like a horse that can count. And basically, they were making fun of the executives, saying, do you want us to do this, like a horse that can count? And the execs were like, yes, exactly. And that reinforced their creative will in that all of your ideas are terrible, ours are going to be good, and we're okay with it, and we'll succeed that way. And it's exactly what happened. And that's why there's so many times the guy that's new, the guy that's first, has such a hard time initially, like Letterman did, but then the reward is that you become the guy everybody else looks up to because you didn't follow in line with everybody else.
Yeah, it was a trendsetter. And you think about the way that we consume things now. And you talked about the conversation, I guess you and were having with Simmons and the Grantland folks about the notion of Fallon. That, oh, did you see Fallon last night? Well, was the show good or was it like a bit that, him and Jamie Foxx doing impersonations? And the viral bit, that was never going to be Letterman's strong suit. But, I mean, again, I can't tell you. And you and I and anybody in this business, you get to do things that are amazing when you look back on them, and you just think, gosh, you take them for granted. But you're standing there in the wings waiting to go sit down and talk to the guy, and he gives you this wave, and you're standing there looking at that set, and you're like, son of a, I got to go out there and sit down and talk to Letterman. And I'm sure that somebody was involved in a traffic stop that turned bad and got jailed, and they needed someone to pinch in that could actually get there on the day, whatever the case might have been. But
we know that's not true.
I'm pretty sure it had something to, it was late. It was around Christmas time. I think they were looking for somebody that could get there. And I don't care. He did 6,000 and some odd shows, and I got to do one of them. I got to say, though, Bob Dylan played last night, and I don't get it. If someone could help me with that, he looked kind of angry and put off and freaked out to be there, and he sang, and his voice has never been his strongest suit. And I mean, I'm guess not smart enough to understand what the appeal is, but Bill Murray came out of a cake and fell down and went and hugged people, so that was good. And then tonight, I guess the Foo Fighters are going to play. And they'll be high. I'm going to be on TV tonight. I'll tell you the same thing as Kimball. Don't watch me, or watch me and DVR Letterman. One or the other.
That's right, because you're going to watch you live.
Yeah. See, ours is more urgent. All right. I'll see you tonight.
Earlier today on SVP and Russillo.
We got to yelling a little bit. The question was more pressure, Steph Curry or LeBron James this postseason. I said it's more on LeBron because he has expectation. Expectation creates pressure, and I think everyone likes Steph, and I don't think that Steph would be scrutinized or critiqued if the Golden State Warriors didn't win a title. And that led to this exchange with Stanford Steve. How much pressure is on the 60-win number one seeded Atlanta Hawks? None.
None, because they're not the best team in the
NBA.
NBA.
Because who are they playing? Because who are they playing? They're playing the guy that has the most pressure.
Yeah, that's one way.
Yeah, but LeBron doesn't have.
Well, you're going to turn it into they're the 67-win team. You're the best. They're the
best team in the NBA. They should win the title. They have the MVP.
Atlanta's the second best. Atlanta's the second best team in the NBA. They're the one seed. They have the home court advantage. There's no pressure on them.
Nobody talks about them like that.
We're talking about one player.
And no one talks about Steph like this. No one talks about Steph like he's got to win or else. No one. That tone has been described as "I'm right, Scott." Is that what it was called?
Yeah. Scott saying, I'm right here. I'm going to beat everyone in this conversation.
Wasn't that the point? That's what we're trying to do. Make your points. Get in there. Mix it up.
Once you knew it was two guys on the other side, that's when you started. We're in the corner backing up, and you're like, I'll stab you right in the face with this stick, which I don't blame you for.
It's rare. I mean, we don't
He's coming at you today.
We don't raise the volume of our voice. This isn't performance art. We don't just yell.
But you did there.
That's fine. I raised my voice because I felt threatened.
Hearing it doesn't sound as bad.
In the moment, it seemed worse.
Seeing it
in the mix, I had no chance. I knew it.
It's all right. I like that though. I like that revisiting that stuff.
Me too.
Testy. I think it'll get worse as this thing closes in the next few weeks.
I mean, I think we. As far as grievance airing goes, I don't know. I'm not hanging on to anything. You got anything? You got any stuff in the old back pocket? What you're mad at your boy about?
Probably could come up with something, but I don't know. I might also look at it and go, hey, we've had a good run here.
With all due respect.
No offense.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
I'm the one?
Yeah, that's me. Speaking of how bad was it in the moment, Brent Berry made a joke, right?
Yeah. And I guess we didn't. And there is something to be said of the skill of a host to give his guy that fake laugh to support his take. And we did not come through, even though we both thought we laughed.
Yeah, I think I gave it an internal laugh because I understood what he was going for. It was a question about who's harder to guard.
Who's tougher to defend, Steph or Harden?
Usually the president of the United States in any capacity.
See, you gave him a little.
I gave him like an outward breath.
You gave him a little cursory. Like he heard it, but he didn't hear a full-on guffaw.
No, he didn't get that from us.
Or as you referred to it, this isn't Mike and Mike.
Do we have that?
I don't know if we have that.
Oh, we do?
Well, we might. Here we go.
Steve cut it up immediately.
Here's a revisit. What's the adjective that best describes your open gyms?
I don't know. You didn't go for my president line about defending the president on the politicals.
I did.
So I don't know.
We chuckled. We call ourselves out for laughing, like the fake, like it was funny. But like Ryan and I are way more likely to laugh quietly than to give you the.
This isn't Mike and Mike.
Boom, haymakers.
Management would agree.
That's correct. That is correct.
So
no, winning. Boys, it isn't. It isn't, is it? So there you go.
Miguel Cabrera leads the Detroit Tigers into Anaheim to face Mike Trout and the Los Angeles Angels. The pregame's at 7 Eastern, followed by first pitch at 8, Sunday on ESPN2 and on ESPN Radio.